So this just in, Karen Attiah, the last full-time columnist at Washington Post, lost her job over claims regarding Charlie Kirk's unaliving. And I want to get a little bit more into the story, but before I do so, I just want to reiterate how this is just a further confirmation on how many of the institutional privileges that Black women enjoyed just post-civil rights era and specifically post-feminism are quickly crumbling in front of our eyes. And it leads us to the bigger question of what does this mean for the Black community and Black America? But before I get into it, let's just look a little bit at the story and exactly what happened. Okay, so it reads, Washington Post columnist Karen Attiah claimed she was fired by the newspaper last week over her social media post following the unaliving of Charlie Kirk, including one in which she condemned excessive false mourning of the conservative activist. Attiah, who spent 11 years at the paper and was the last remaining full-time Black person on its opinion page, wrote on her Substack that she was accused by the newspaper of gross misconduct, which endangered colleague safety, allegations she rejected as false. Attiah had taken aim at Kirk, as well as the outpouring of grief and sympathy for the conservative activist who was gunned down last week during a college campus appearance in Utah. My journalistic and moral values for balance compelled me to condemn violence and unaliving without engaging in excessive false mourning for a man who routinely attacked Black women as a group, Attiah wrote. Attiah wrote that she referenced Kirk on just one Blue Sky post in which she quoted him as saying, "Black women do not have the brain processing power to be taken seriously. You have to go steal a white person's slot." My commentary received thoughtful engagement across platforms, support, and virtually no public backlash, Attiah wrote. She bemoaned the fact that her exit from the newspaper leaves the opinion section without any African Americans. I was the last remaining Black full-time opinion columnist at the Post. Washington, D.C. no longer has a paper that reflects the people it serves, she wrote. Now, before I move on into the column, I just want to say this is exactly why I believe it is so important to support Black-owned businesses. It's not just about circulating the Black dollar, but it's about recognizing that at the end of the day, these businesses, these larger media platforms, their only incentive is to make money and to ultimately position themselves in the position that is going to be the most beneficial to make money. It's not about trying to uplift or empower Black voices. It's not necessarily about trying to ensure that there is equal representation. I mean, they may say that, but the primary goal is to make money. And I think a lot of Black people, particularly Black women, I think a lot of Black women run into the issue of thinking that they are going to find spaces within white places that want to equally advocate for their voice. Or put another way, there is sometimes this expectation that a basically white government or a white business needs to be responsible for uplifting the Black community, for uplifting Black voices, for uplifting Black females. And that's just not true. America is ran off of capitalism and money, okay? And I think as far as a Black community, strengthening Black communities, hearing Black voices, Black stories, representing them, that ultimately has to be the responsibility of the Black community. And the reason I'm saying that is because as soon as you put that responsibility or give that responsibility to a company that is white owned, you're always at their mercy. And this is a prime example. Here is a Black woman who spent, multiple years trying to share the Black voice, but it was only one post away of basically being let go. We can't expect white America to uplift Black America. Like, you can't expect to do that. Under a capitalistic system, there's going to be competition. So the only way you can expect to have a place that's going to care about your story, your image, your voice, or whatever, is only going to be within the context of your own community that includes Black men. And if you're not actively engaged in a reality that is moving towards that, then you are always going to be at the mercies of whatever business objectives the white company has that you're working for. That's just the reality. Okay, so now I want to look a little bit into the post that actually got her fired. So if we go over here, it says, okay, because America, especially white America, is not going to do what it needs to do to get rid of the guns in their country, it will be thoughts and prayers. Violence has no place out of a performance of goodness, not out of the resolve to convince their communities to disarm, right? And then this one over here, for everyone saying political violence has no place in this country, remember 2 Democratic legislators were shot in Minnesota just this year, and America shrugged and moved on. This one right here, it says, part of what keeps America so violent is the insistence that people perform care, empty goodness, and absolution for white men who espouse hatred and violence. And in this one right here, it says, I wish I had hope for gun control and that I could believe political violence has no place in this country, but we live in a country that accepts white children being massacred by gun violence. Not just accepts, but worships violence. So, I mean, y'all see it right there, pretty clear. This is what got her let go at her job. And we can clearly see that the lines between hate speech and free speech are very, very political. And in the case of this company, they have people that they're trying to appeal to. They have an audience, probably want to be in good standing of the administration, and they're going to make whatever opinion is going, and they're going to make whatever decision is going to positively impact their bottom line, even if that means every single Black voice has to be silenced. And I, hate to say it, but it just seems like a lot of Black women are having like a ninja moment. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, I mean, you talk to your average Black man, they already know the system ain't on their side. Like, they are not, nobody is out here trying to save Black men. They know since the age of 5 that there's no safety net, there's no governmental assistance, there's no community assistance. Ain't nobody to save them. Nobody is out here trying to save them, trying to help them, trying to give them an upper hand. Like, they know that they're on their own. So I think Black men, at least from what I've observed, particularly those who are, very successful or have a good head on their shoulder, confident, they don't have a expectation that they're really going to get support at all. And if they do get support, it's kind of like a shock. It's shocking, and they're grateful, but it's not built into their career path. You know what I mean? Whereas I think women, particularly under feminism, are just, we have this assumption, or this I think there's this inbuilt assumption that there is help. And I don't even think we're always consciously aware of it, and haven't been consciously aware of it until we see situations like this, where one wrong move completely causes the entire house of cards to fall. And as I mentioned before, those safety nets are completely being removed. It's obviously impacting the Black woman the most, but other women are being impacted as well. And it's going to be really interesting to see how things transpire. But anyways, y'all, what do you think? What are y'all thoughts on this whole situation? What are your predictions? Let me know down in the comment section. Thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.